presented study is a part of a larger research within the grant project Self-Harm Definition, Prevalence, Influencing Factors and Implications for Clinical Interventions. This paper concentrates on the prevalence of depressive symptoms in self-harming population of adolescents and on their mutual relationship. First of all, it is essential to clear up the term self-harming behavior, as it is not a clinical category yet. An inevitable condition for labeling a behavior as self-harming is an intention to cause the pain to oneself. This intention has to be primary. For example, we exclude tattooing, piercing, and so on from this group as their primary intention is decorative. There are also various approaches defining this behavior in different contexts. Usually the term self-harm includes intentional self-inflicted damage of the surface of a body, for example, cutting, burning, stabbing, hitting. However, many studies point to the fact that self-harming behavior is more complex. It can cover indirect physical forms, such as poisoning or deliberate starving, as well as mental forms, for example, starting and maintaining abusive relationship. Due to the absence of consensus in the definition of self-harm, its prevalence in scientific papers varies. However, the majority of papers state an alarming increase of the self-harm, mainly in the population of adolescents. Self-harming behavior in non-clinical population of adolescents serves as a maladaptive coping strategy and is often connected with subjects with exaggerated performance orientation or low self-esteem or depressive attunement. It is the connection between self-harming behavior and depressivity that has been the subject of many research. Some studies consider depressive symptoms as proximal factors that differentiate self-harming youth from non-self-harming youth. The other see the self-harm as a coping strategy for the depressive feelings, while some argue that self-harming behavior often appears alone without symptoms of depression. One way or another, the connection between depressive symptoms and self-harming behavior remain unclear and require intense exploration. In order to answer some of the actual questions regarding the connection between the self-harm and depressive symptoms, we decided to explore, first of all, the prevalence of depressive symptoms in the population of self-harming adolescents. Secondly, the difference in the prevalence of depressive symptoms in the population of self-harming and non-self-harming adolescents. Then also the link between the level of depressive symptoms and the level of self-harming behavior. On one side, whether this link exists, and on the other, whether it is positive or negative. Then we needed to analyze the presence of depressive symptoms among self-harming adolescents with regard to gender, which means, first of all, to compare the prevalence of depressive symptoms in the population of self-harming adolescents between males and females, and secondly, to analyze the specificities of this link between the level of depressive symptoms and level of self-harming behavior with regard to sex. The last objective is to investigate the existence of the link between the level of depressive symptoms and age in self-harming adolescents. Well, the research has been carried out on a population of 1,117 Slovak adolescents attending primary or secondary schools, aged from 11 to 19 years. 65.4% of the sample were female subjects. The data collection took place during classes and all participants were informed before the research. They either gave an informed consent for the participation or, in case of younger participants, the consent was given also by their guardians. Participants had a possibility to withdraw from the research without any consequences, and the administration was anonymous. The data was collected using a questionnaire which included a modified self-harm inventory for the detection of self-harming adolescents and also for the measurement of the intensity of self-harming behavior. This questionnaire covers 20 different forms of self-harming behavior and measures their prevalence in participants' self-harming history. The presence and amount of depressive symptoms was captured by the standardized scale for the self-assessment of depression in children and youth, called the Children's Depression Inventory. It consists of 27 statements that quantify depressive symptoms and the extent of their presence on a scale of 0 to 2 points. The questionnaire includes norms for the Slovak population. We also collected personal data as age and gender. The data analysis was conducted using IBM SPSS 27 statistical software. The statistical significance threshold in each data analysis was set to 0.05. As the variables of the gross score of depressive and self-harming inventory did not exhibit a normal distribution, the non-parametric tests were used for the analyses. The first objective concentrated on the prevalence of depressive symptoms in the population of self-harming adolescents. The existence of norms of the Slovak version of the Children's Depression Inventory allows a comparison to the scores of self-harming adolescents with the average population, and thus objectively analyze the measured level of depressive symptoms. In the questionnaire, self-harmers had an average gross score of 18.93, which is statistically significantly higher than the norm. Only 13% of self-harming adolescents scored values that were lower or equal to the average of the population. We proved the high prevalence of depressive symptoms in the population of self-harming adolescents also by the comparison of the presence of depressive symptoms between the group of self-harming and non-self-harming adolescents. The Mann-Whitney U-tests showed that the group of self-harming adolescents exhibited a statistically significantly higher score in Children's Depression Inventory than the group of non-self-harming participants. The differences in the level of depressive symptoms measured by the Children's Depression Inventory between the groups of self-harmers and non-self-harmers indicate that depressive symptoms may be linked to self-harm. This correlation was verified by a non-parametric Spearman's rank order correlation test, which revealed that the level of self-harming behavior in adolescents statistically significantly with a medium intensity and positively correlates with the level of depressive symptoms. Our research concentrated also on the gender differences. A non-parametric independent samples Mann-Whitney U-test showed significantly high differences in the prevalence of depressive symptoms between genders in the sample of self-harming adolescents. The prevalence of depressive symptoms in women is higher than in men. Even though the presence of depressive symptoms is higher in female self-harming participants, the connection between the level of depressive symptoms and intensity of self-harming behavior is present in both sexes. The values of the correlation of the coefficients from the Spearman rank order correlation test executed for female subject and separately for male subject reveal that the correlation is moderate but statistically significant in both groups. The last objective aimed to reveal the connection between the level of depressive symptoms and age. The correlation between the age of the subjects and the occurrence of depressive symptoms in the group of self-harming individuals is at the boundary of significance. No such correlation is observed among the non-self-harming participants. The further analysis looked at the characteristics of this correlation among the self-harmers, separately for male and for female subjects. It is apparent that the number of depressive symptoms decreases with age to a statistically significant degree among female subjects. However, no correlation was observed between age and the level of depressive symptoms in self-harming men. Well, conclusions. The collected data clearly shows that depressive symptoms are highly prevalent and significant for the population of self-harming adolescents. Depressive symptoms significantly correlate with the intensity of self-harming behavior and are significantly more common in self-harming females than in males. Also, the level of depressive symptoms decreases with the age, but only in self-harming adolescent females. The results produced also the suggestions for further study. For the deeper explanation, the relationship between the depressive symptoms and self-harm in terms of possible causality and its direction would be really beneficial. Also, results point to the possibility that self-harming behavior may serve as a specific maladaptive coping strategy for female adolescents in such a way that it either directly reduces the level of depressive attunement in women, or it works in a way that it eliminates the causes of depressive symptomatology. However, such presumptions should be verified. Thank you very much for your attention.